Hey yo, how's it guys? How you doing? I go by the name of Apendule Pakate and this here is the DMC sessions. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have tuned in, you're a star. I think if you like notice something, my sound sounds a little better. I've set up a new sound. I connected like my studio mic onto this stuff, so it'll probably sound better from here on, man. Because I know how annoying sound can be. Like you can watch a great video, and then if you hear the sound, it may put you off a little bit. And even if it's not in the forefront of your thinking, or if you don't think it's putting you off, but low key, it's probably putting you off. But yeah, man, back here today to speak on a topic that was requested by one of my subscribers. And thank you so much for sending me questions because I did ask, that you guys, we engage, we speak, so this will be actually my first, that I'm gonna answer. And this one is from Sean Mashimbi. Morning! Alright, so Sean Mashimbi says, love the discussions, my brother, and I appreciate the fact that you tackle these relevant topics. I'm always tuned in, so keep it up. Can I look forward to a discussion on your views about business and investment, or the media and entertainment industry and its impact on the generation? Okay, let's go. Well, okay, I don't know which one I want to focus on right now because it's business and investment and then there's media and entertainment. Maybe I'll try tie them in somehow. If I don't, then I'll just speak on them separately. Maybe the other on a separate video. But yeah, the business and investment part is kind of for me. I'm trying to I'll tie my mind around it first and be like, I need more information, and have a more well thought out response. But this media and entertainment industry and its impact on the generation, I can definitely answer right now. So yeah, man, let's get into the video. Yeah, so shout out. So as you heard, I sent a question. I read out a question by Sean Mashimbi, and he was asking me about the entertainment industry and its impact on the generation. Now, this is a discussion that I've been having with a lot of people actually for some time. Because for me, I've always been somebody who's always been interested in the industry. I've always wanted to be a part of it. My whole life, the entertainment industry was my thing. I thought that this is something that I'm gonna master in my life and something that I'm gonna be good at. So because for the mere fact of one of the reasons why over time I thought this way is that it has so much impact on a person. If you want to make a difference or if you want to make an impact in the world or something like that, entertainment is one of the biggest ways you can do that. Because it's more on the psyche, it's more psychological. It's like music. When you listen to music, you get moved in a certain way, and the lyrics that you're hearing, you actually planting into your mind or your heart, whether you realize it or not. But the more you listen to it, the more you become it because you internalize it. And once you internalize it, now you are the one who's going to start projecting it. It goes through like a processing, it sits in your hearts, it marinates, and you end up even knowing the words, and now you're singing along. And once you start even singing along, then you kind of like in agreement with the lyrics, and the vibe of the song. So even if it's like a positive song, you're gonna get into that vibe. If you listen to it, if you sing it, it will literally make you feel that positive vibe. Negative vibe, also the same thing. So that's like the impact that artistry just has on people. I can't speak much for other type of artistries like your paintings and stuff, but I kind of see the idea of it because also the idea of colors and color palettes and all of that. Why a certain color is important for this certain mood. Because red makes you feel some way than blue does, and light blue and green and light green or whatever. So all of them just have a certain energy, and that's why I love the forest. My favorite color is green, because for me, the thing I love in the world when I see is trees and forests and all of that, and that greenery makes me feel peace. It makes me feel at home. So I guess that's like where the artistry of visuals, would come from. So I could kind of like be able to touch on that because I edit videos and I also like can edit photos and all of that. So I know why certain colors work like this and that, and even moving someone emotively with how you cut, the pace of something, what you put on, not just the content but even how you cut up that content plays a role in how you're gonna receive it. So there's many elements, to an artwork, and things like productions. You have very different types of artists that come together to make something in all different fields. Your dressing, your aesthetics, your mediums, everything. It matters. Now, that's as far as I could say for an individual why artistry can have an impact. So that's me justifying the fact that it has an impact, right? So now, I think this question is phased towards real life situation like today. What is it doing? What is the impact on this generation? Now, let's try and understand this, right? This generation is kind of going through a similar battle in a way, or struggle. We're facing a lot of unemployment, we're facing a lot of depression and mental illness, we're facing a lot of alcoholism. All of these things I've been seeing all over the place. From the States, we see it here, it's probably happening all around the world. So it's kind of like an epidemic. And for me, I'm thinking to myself, when did it get here, And even for me, questioning myself is to like, why do I do the things that I do? Or, why am I speaking the way I speak? It's because for the most part, it's the things that I've been fed since I was a child. When you watch a lot of movies or series, or listen to a lot of music, a lot of all these old school rap music, man, are really deep. Like those gangster songs and all of that. You lived that in your head. You were becoming those characters. And you could say it's entertainment, it is entertaining in the moment, but it's also programming. I'm gonna just be frank about that. It's legit program. That's why they call it programs. Like if you change the TV, you're changing the program. What type of program do you want? Do you want a violence type of program? Do you want a party vibe type of program? Do you want a serial killer type of program? There's many different types, dog. Like love, romance. It dictates even how we should love, or what love is, or how romance is, or how we're supposed to seduce, our significant other. My question has always been, would I have been able, without any type of programming, without any television, would I have been literally able to be able to have my own way of doing it, I guess, if I put it like that? Like, would I be able to still be romantic, as you put it? And how would my romance be, if she didn't have any programming and I didn't have any programming? What does that look like, from a primal state? So it gets you questioning now a lot, even about today's society, the rules that we have, the laws that we have. It gets you questioning now, like, okay, is this how it's naturally is supposed to be, or have I been told this is how it should be? You get me? So I think that's just the power of it. I mean, even the fact that sex is so accessible, it's so normalized, it's because of television. You've been presented this in scenes, sex scenes in the movies, or they even used to have ETV playing pornography and all of that when we're watching it at night, because we're not gonna sleep as kids, especially on the weekend. And it played on the weekend, so your parents are not home. You kind of have that forbidden fruit type of thing, because there's also a role that you play. It's something you want to do, and if you want it badly, it's because you can't have it. As soon as you can't have something, as soon as something is forbidden, that is when you're actually gonna want it even more. So I think they kind of justified it in a way to say, now we're playing it later at 12 o'clock so kids won't watch it. But that's actually unrealistic because kids are curious. And if you tell them you're not going to watch this or you can't watch this, they are going to watch it. So it's just like age restriction. Like in the movies, I wanted to get into the 16 and above age restrictions when I was below that number. You know, when I was 14, I remember I wanted to go watch I even forgot what that movie was, but I remember we couldn't get in, you know, because they needed ID or something. They saw that we were kids and they said age restriction. And I was so sad. Yo, I felt so much FOMO and everything in me was like, one day I'm gonna do this. Same thing with drinking. I was like, I know a lot of us like we drank like way before our time. You know, so I even started at like 14 years old, if I can remember correctly. 13, 14. So that was way before 18, and they say no under 18s are supposed to drink this, right? But that is the ones that actually, you know, love it the most. You know, I used to enjoy it because I couldn't get it. And also wanting to get into the clubs because it was, you know, 18 and above. Some of them were like 21. I was like, oh, I'll never get there. You know, but now that I'm here and I'm at this age, it's not really that exciting. When I'm allowed to get into this club. It's kind of normal. I just walk in. I don't even think too much about it, you know. I just walk in. There's no excitement. But before, when I was a teen, I used to get excited. Like when we were about to go out, it's like, oh, okay, I hope we make it inside. And if we make it inside, then it's like, oh, we're inside. You know, it's exciting. And you guys have a great ass night. So that's the principle that I'm using that as example, but that's the principle of that whole thing of programming, man. And I was talking about pornography and it playing at night and stuff, and yeah, people setting up rules to make it look like it's legit, but it's technically not, because it shouldn't even be there in the first place, but it was. So we got a taste of that. So now you see the traits of everything that's going on today and why everyone like it's so easy to just engage in these things. You know, I'm sure in the past it wasn't. I know my grandmother's time, it was always with one person. You know, some of them waited, a lot of them waited till marriage. You know, there was more rules to it that weren't emphasized, but was kind of like expected. It was a thing. It's what they knew, you know. But now it's like you've been taught something totally different, and now you're growing up into a whole world of the people who think the same way as you do, who think in this way, who are loose as well. So it just makes it easy also for like access for both sides. So that's just like the play on media. That is the effect that media can have on a generation. It literally feels like it raises them, you know? It's like it raised us because we are different from our grandmother's time, you know? Like today's age, it's so different. And what makes it more evident that you get programs through this is it's the same thing all around the world. It's kind of like the same culture. It's like there's a culture that's being put out, you know, and you now in that same culture, whether you're in South Africa or America. So it gets you thinking, man. The movies that have been playing there and there, we're all thinking in the same way now. There's no longer that much diversity. Let me put it like that. I think before, because there wasn't like any connection, you know, what internet, satellites, you know, for movies and all of that, people were doing their own thing everywhere. That's why you still see traces of different types of cultures, different types of beliefs. Because if you're in South Africa, your context of thinking is more on, let's say, I'm a Xhosa man. If I grew up in the Eastern Cape, you know, I was that Xhosa guy, that was what I was going to know. I was going to know that culture. I was going to know Isiko, all of that stuff. All right? I wasn't going to know about how to romance a girl like the Twilight movie. You know, I wasn't going to know about whatever else that we're doing in today's culture, you know, even the dress codes and everything. Everything would have been different then. I would have been okay walking barefoot, you know, I would, you know, so now that there's more like this, I feel like there's more of a connection because of the internet, because the internet is also media based. because a lot of us go onto the internet mostly for media purposes. We don't go on the internet just to research. If you're saying that, then you're a liar. I mean, most of your time you spend on the internet is through media, social media. Uh, YouTube is a certain type of media. You know, it's not television, but it's internet vision, whatever. So that one is more predominant because it's it's connected. It's not like SABC that's just for South Africa. So you can still get programmed as a nation, but not so like America won't know about it. But now YouTube, for example, is like a universal thing. It's all around the world. You know, Netflix all around the world. You know, Facebook, all of that stuff. You know, Twitter. So now information is shared like that all over the place. No, doesn't matter if you are in the Eastern Cape, whether you are in KwaZulu Natal, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are in UK, you all can get the same information at the same time. So that's the difference. And now my whole thing is why there's such a psychological effect on all of this, and people will be like, "Oh man, don't blame it on technology or don't blame it on this or that," and I'm like, okay, but I'm trying to find an answer because I'm looking at a pattern, and it's like, what's causing this really? Because it feels to me it's underlining. Like I can't identify it. Sometimes I don't know why, you know, I'd suddenly be so sad or feel unfulfilled or depressed or I don't know. Like it's like I'm distracted from even knowing myself because I felt a difference when I was at home for a holiday and I was just living, you know. I started understanding things. I was disconnecting from the world. That was the time where I was like cutting off my phone and all of that, just kind of disconnecting. And it felt so great because I felt an identity and a peace and an understanding about myself and the world around me and people, and I grew a love for people. You know, I connected more with the Most High. I had a spiritual kind of focus, and I think what's happening is we're not focusing. Ish, this dog. We're not focusing our attention to our spiritual growth, our spiritual health. We're focusing most of our attention on media. So it feels like a distraction. Like I think sometimes I think it started off good. I think a good thing can turn bad, you know, because of abuse. If you abuse it, it goes bad. So I don't want to be the guy to say media is bad because I'm in the media too, like, you know. But I think there's a drug, there's like a certain addiction to it that's like a drug where you kind of need it now and you need it to cope. You know, you sit down, you eat, you need to watch Netflix, or, you know, you need to get on Twitter when you're watching something, or you need to, you know, be part of the trend. You need to do all of this stuff. And it kind of like takes you away from you just being you and just getting to know yourself, you know, and just being present and understanding where you are, who you are. And then we don't even get to a place of appreciation now to where we are because we're so distracted and we just indulged in this whole fast life. We don't get time to acknowledge what's around us. I think even some of us even forgot that tree exists. You know, like as weird as that sounds, it just feels like you could get so far that you can even think that a tree doesn't exist anymore. It could be there, but you won't even notice it. You know, so yeah, if you could get to a point where you could appreciate something that small, then I think your life, your way of life, your quality of life will be far better. But yeah, man, that's a general aspect I can try kind of put it in of what I think of it. But on the positive side, I think it's also great. It's a great impactor for positive things too, for knowledge. You know, media plays a huge role also in us knowing what's going on around the world. You know, new discoveries. It's great for those things. You know, you learn more. I've learned so much more because of media. Everything is in front of you. It's thrown at you, left, right, and center. So you do kind of gain a certain knowledge. You do get more in tune with the whole world, because you were kind of cut off from the world, the rest of the world, because we didn't have any connection to it. You'd had to travel in order to see, what's going on in China. But now it's like you know what's going on in China without you having to go there. You're at your place, you're sitting on your laptop, and you get to know what's going on in China, in the UK. What type of music are they releasing there? What's the culture looking like? How are people talking? How are people dressing? What's the new cars that came out? What is the new discovery maybe scientists have found? What is the argument? What is the trend that's going on in the human condition? Is everybody going through mental illness now? Are there more books that are given about this? You're kind of more connected about your world around you. You're not like isolated, but at the same time you also can be isolated from your real life, because you could know about everything else around you in the world, but then you're not focusing on your own life. So I think for discipline, like, one needs to kind of find a balance of some sort, to like nurture yourself and your spiritual life and all of that, and also be in tune with what's going on, because you also don't want to be like surprised. Suddenly people have been talking about a war going on, you don't even know, and then now you get outside, you're thinking, I'm just gonna go to the gym today, such a great day, and all of a sudden you see like an army coming through, and apparently you were told to stay inside, or you're supposed to meet everybody at this area. I don't know, this is a stupid scenario, but I'm just trying to make an example of the good that can come from media. So with everything, I feel like there's always a good and bad side, and it's important to talk on both sides. I mean, even the fact that we're having these type of conversations, I'm using a media right now to talk to you guys, and maybe I'm helping somebody out there, by my experiences, or what I've learned, or what I think, or what my opinion is. Maybe it's not something that you had considered before, but because now I've said it and you heard me say it, and maybe you were thinking it, and now you're like, oh, okay, yeah, then it is what it is, or you feel better, or you get a different perspective. So it helps us connect. I mean, it's a great communicator of whatever, actually. So you could use that for good or evil, is what I'm saying. So media is great, and it can also be poisonous. That is my closing conclusion. So I'm gonna close it there. I'm trying not to speak too much. The videos I'm gonna post now, I wanna like summarize it as much as possible, because I know I could chat a lot, but I'm just trying to just get to the point. But also with my point, I want it to be an all round. I like to speak in depth, because I want to get a whole idea. But otherwise, thank you guys so much. Sean, thank you so much for the question, guys. Please send me any questions if you guys have any, and let's talk about it. By the way, this is my opinion on things. I'm just speaking of what I know. I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything that you send me, but I'm just saying it's good to just unravel stuff and let's talk about it the same way we would if we're chilling at a pub or something and we're just having a conversation about things, And sometimes people may get into little arguments or whatever, but it's part of growth in knowledge, and it's part of knowing, and it's part of understanding. So, yeah, thank you guys so much, man. Peace and love. You're awesome.
Stick up, chisa, my dick in my leg. It was side, boogie, boogie.